What do we have? First rates coming up in just a bit from now, and we'll look at the Nifty heat map, and then of course come down to individual stocks. So 25,870 is where the Nifty is at, 59,300 is where the Nifty Bank is at, and mid-cap index about a third higher, small-cap index is up about 0.14%, and more up than down out of the gates, but it's just still very, very early and tentative as well as we kick off this Wednesday trading session. Nifty Bank now barely in the green, Nifty barely in the green. Mid-cap index a little bit more definitive with a 0.25% gain. The Nifty heat map, how many up and down as we begin today's session. I'll show you a quick snapshot view. So it's kind of more up than down. Grasim and Trent on one end and Bharti and L&T on the other end of the spectrum on the Nifty 50 heat map. 10 points now in the green on the Nifty. Surabhi.
Grasim is up because of that investment they're getting from BlackRock in their renewables arm, and the market's taking a liking to that. So about a percent, actually less than a percent, 0.7% right now up. Hindalco also is up about 0.7%. So two strong moves from that group. M&M managing a little bit of gain. Trent is up about 0.5%. And then it really starts fizzling out. Nothing much to count here. Jio Financial less than 0.5% higher. Let's see where the pressure is coming in from. Interglobe Aviation down 1% for now. Let's see how the stock settles through the day. Down a little over 1%, 1.2% now. So Interglobe is in focus. Bharti Airtel has lost about 1%. JSW Steel is losing some ground. Titan is lower by about 0.5%. Otherwise, everything is flat. Bank Nifty is absolutely quiet. Large names like HDFC Bank not really providing any sense of direction. SBI totally flat, and ditto for ICICI Bank. So really nothing much is moving. Keep an eye out on Interglobe. Let's look at what Swiggy and Eternal are doing. Stocks are in news. Eternal is about 0.5% lower. And Swiggy, last I checked, was also trading fairly flat. Swiggy is not doing much. Just about 0.5% up. What a quiet start, Nigel.
Well, that's right. But a few stocks, they are bucking the trend in today's trading session. Silver is seeing a bit of a melt up. We've been covering it. I recall middle of this year, when gold was up 40% and silver was up only 15%, they put out a case that probably silver could outperform from here on. That's the way it's played, because from there, silver's up close to around 80%, while gold has put on some weight, but not as much as silver, and that ratio as well has narrowed. So Hindustan Zinc, that's the only way to play it from the listed space. That one's up close to around 2.5%, and Vedanta, because of its holding in Hindustan Zinc, that gets some support as well, and that's why many are a little bit bullish on Vedanta, because it has the aluminium play, and it has the indirect play on silver, and those two commodities could continue to do well. So that explains why those stocks are up. The other few stocks that are doing well, AU Small Finance Bank, there's green out there. They have got the approval from the DFS, the Ministry of Finance, to increase the foreign investment limit in its shareholding. And remember, MSCI, FTSE, they as well track these changes. So that explains why that stock as well is up close to around 2% or thereabouts. JSW Energy, yesterday there was a large trade that got out of the way. GQG Partners sold close to around 1.5 crore shares. And once that's out of the way, you see the stock bounce up a little bit. And in addition to that, they have a board meeting on December 12th to consider fundraise via shares as well as warrants. So participation in that will be something that will be tracked as well. Sammaan Capital, that's up close to around 2%. I think earlier today or late last night, we have the CCC approval that's come in there from the IHC investment in Sammaan Capital. So that explains why that stock is seeing some green after, the kind of correction that we've seen on that name. And on the losing end, though, you have Grow, which is Billion Brains. That's down close to around 3.5%. Seeing some profit taking out there. And as would be mentioned already, Interglobe Aviation down 1.5%. The good news is the Nifty is now closer to around the 20 DMA. The bulls will like to see a close, gradually towards the 20 DMA, which is 100 points away from current levels.
Absolutely. And, silver Bs, right? 3% gain on silver Bs at this point. Hindustan Zinc, I think we mentioned 3% higher on Hindustan Zinc. 508 is where that is. Right next to each other, silver and Hindustan Zinc in terms of, a ticker, two names which are both up and about. Tube Investments, I think, is up about 3% as well as is the number one volume-led gainer right now. That'll come up as well. Yeah, 1.3 million shares. I mean, it comes up with 3% gains occasionally, but never on the top of the volume-led gainers list. But it's by far the number one volume-led gainers. Gaining stock this morning coming through. What else? JSW Energy, some of the bunch of these silver ETFs are all up between 2, 3, 4%. So that's that. Car trade is up about 3% or so as well. 1,600 stocks are higher and about 700 stocks are lower at this point in time. Stuff on the downside. Capillaries, the recent listing is down about 2.5%. Latent View went up 10% yesterday. It's down about 1.5%. Eris was up 10% yesterday, down about 3.5%. So some reversal, some profit booking basically is what you have. Ixigo, for example, went up 10% yesterday. It's down about 2.5%. So these are all reversals. Newland was up 7% yesterday. It's down about 1.25%, 1.33%. But keep an eye out on some of these names because this is very, very initial first rates which are showing through.